What a time to be alive. There are motorcycles everywhere. Good, bad, big, small, powerful, not so powerful. There's so much on tap. Now, in spite of years of evolution, revolution and everything in between, the one thing that's remained constant is the value for money equation. You cannot ignore it and we cannot deny it. Today on PowerDrift, we are going to look at two such motorcycles that we feel occupy a large portion of the VFM pie chart. This is the Hero Mavrick.
And this is the Bajaj Pulsar NS400Z. Kam mein zyada. More value, less money. Isn't that the whole point of VFM? Low cost can be defined. But how do you define value? More features or more performance?
So which of these two motorcycles offers more value for its price? Let's find out.
The Mavrick is Hero's hero based on the 440cc platform because this one is the flagship. It's a relatively simple looking bike, round headlamp, got that neo-retro vibe with a bit of modern roadster touch to it. It's not completely unique I would say, but you will know it's a Mavrick. The quality is pretty decent on this, but I expected better fit and finish levels. The left hand side of the handlebar remains empty because of part sharing and it just looks outright weird.
Like Glenturn transformed into Glen here at PowerDrift, the NS moniker has grown over the last decade. Yes, it did see a slew of small siblings, however, as they say, Der aaye, durust aaye. Durust, I'm not so sure, but Der, I'm sure they did. Keeping all of that aside, I do like how this NS looks. That headlamp may be polarizing to quite a few, but to me, it adds this sense of distinction to the motorcycle. Beefy USD forks sure do make this big NS look nice. The tank extensions surely add to that big bike feel. But the tail, it feels kinda small and not new. From afar, the NS looks like a regular NS, but when you get closer to the motorcycle, it does look a bit different. But all of that changes once you swing a leg over the NS400Z. Because power, it sure has 40 of those horse kinds and 35 of those catapulting NMs. Let's not forget, this 373cc single-cylinder motor started off life in a KTM 390 Duke. Of course, it was later adapted by Bajaj and sat tight in that Dominar 400. It has that fierce nature that we've always loved, and especially in this NS guys with less weight and that perimeter frame, it feels like a lot of fun. The gearbox on this feels pretty decent as well, no weird clunks. What I'd really like to talk about is the tractability of this motor. Yes, of course, it won't really roll off from second gear from a standstill, but what it really will do is not knock all that much at slow speeds in higher gears. Weirdly, the throttle has a lot of play and needs calibration, and our test unit right here was bogging quite often at slower speeds. Keeping all of that aside, you have power modes to dabble through, and that engine will keep you happy for a long time. To finish things off, refinement is pretty decent and overall things are looking positive.
And while Glenn is happy, I am super happy. This is a very refined 440cc engine. And just like I said in my first ride video, that 440cc engine is one of the most refined big capacity singles I have ever experienced. Hero has got that spot on. It's not as fierce as the NS, it's not supposed to be. It's calm, torquey, punchy and even tractable to a certain degree. Getting to 100 km per hour definitely feels slower than the NS, that's a no-brainer. But once you get there, it's a very pleasant experience. Continuing with the positive bits, this is not a stressed 440cc engine and it's pretty evident by three things: the power and the torque figures, and of course the absence of liquid cooling as well. Last but not the least, the gearbox on this long-term unit of ours feels a little clunky. I don't remember feeling anything like this during my first ride, but apart from that, everything is really nice and I honestly feel Hero has a winner on their hands.
When it comes to handling, the NS truly feels like the NS that we've loved in the past. Quick to steer, very sharp, fun all around. The tight wheelbase, chassis and the engine all come together well to create a nice riding experience. In the city, it shines because your commute will always be engaging. The tires, however, aren't the best, but that's an easy fix.
The Mavrick, on the other hand, does not feel as engaging as the NS. It is also the heavier motorcycle between the two, so naturally good handling exists towards the end of its book. The motorcycle by no means is bad at this, but just lacks the engagement that the NS excels at. As an individual bike, it steers well, does not feel out of shape and will serve as a nice ride for the city.
Speaking of ride quality, Bajaj has given the NS400Z a set of USD forks in the front and a monoshock at the back. And while the setup is said to be on the stiff side, this is the good kind of stiff. Which means it takes on undulations seamlessly and bad roads like a champ. However, do not expect it to take on big crater-like potholes seamlessly. And I feel that's okay, no? Look, hey, this is a Street Fighter, not a Street Fighter ADV. Also, shiny AF.
Honestly, I don't understand what shiny AF means because Cyrus's head is also shiny. What I'm trying to tell you is, sometimes you have to look beyond the spec sheet. Shiny, golden, all those fancy terms. Because what really matters is the real world experience. Now the Mavrick gets a pretty basic setup. You have a telescopic fork at the front, twin shocks at the rear. In fact, it's very different from the X440 setup as well. But the question is, how does it feel? And it does feel really good. In the city, on the highway, the damping is very sorted. Its ability to take on speed breakers, like the one that I was on right now, very nice. Ergonomically as well, it is a pretty comfortable position and the comfort quotient extends from the way you sit on this motorcycle to how well padded the seat is. It might be a little too soft for some riders. I like it, others might not be a fan. And lastly, I think between the two, the Mavrick is definitely going to be the one that has the potential to do long tours. The NS, not as much.
Coming to the brake and the clutch lever, the tiny caveat that I have is the clutch and the brake lever are placed far too low for reach, which is kind of inconvenient sometimes. However, you have this nice canted forward stance by the handlebar, and then you also have these nice rear set foot pegs which are great for canyon carving. However, the issue comes in for long distance touring, and I think that you might be a little too cramped in this frame.
The Mavrick is pretty simple. Basic Bluetooth connectivity, turn-by-turn navigation, but no riding modes, no ABS modes and no traction control either. Cost is another factor why it misses out on these things, but I also feel the Mavrick doesn't necessarily need any of this.
That's just Varun defending his motorcycle. The NS is loaded, traction control, ABS modes, Bluetooth connectivity and navigation too. However, I must say that this tiny screen on the display, it looks like an afterthought. From its placement to the text, it just does not sit right. On paper, the NS is incredible value for the money you spend. I mean, imagine rupees 1.85 lakh for a 373cc motorcycle. This is actually nice. I mean, in 2024, when everything is so expensive, this is actually must.
When we talk about the Mavrick, this particular unit does not cost 2 lakh rupees. It starts pricing at 2 lakh rupees. But a very personal suggestion, if you really want to buy the Mavrick, go for a higher variant because alloys, connectivity, better things on offer.
Well, this was not really a comparo because both of these motorcycles are different in terms of how they feel, what they have to offer and where they stand. Well, what this was more of a celebration because I truly believe that this is the golden era of motorcycles.
I completely agree, and it's only going to get better with time because there are so many more motorcycles that you can expect in the near future. I would like to say one thing, all of this is okay, but when you're about to buy a motorcycle, please look at the emotional value as well. The opening of the throttle should directly connect here. You're right here, and that is very important.
And if you do come to this junction, please do test ride and decide.
Yes, test riding is also super duper important. You have to figure out which motorcycle actually gets a smile on your face.
Well, to sum it all up, both of these motorcycles are built to a cost, and while Bajaj has a lot to offer, Hero has made an attempt to do the same. For now, both of these motorcycles have their fair share of pros and cons, and if you do intend to know about them, there are videos of them sitting independently on our YouTube channel.
On that note, thank you so much for watching this video. Drop a like, share it with your friends, do comment and let us know which team you're really on. The Hero Mavrick or the Bajaj Pulsar NS400Z. We will be back with some more motorcycling content on PowerDrift. See you soon.
Goodbye.